This poem by Seraphina Hilton Turnbull is a powerful indictment of our country's support for the fantasy of the royals and neglect of the British poor, their so-called subjects. Seraphina, originally from a wealthy family in Australia, lived for a long time in London with a young Englishman from a white working-class family who had suffered so much from the crass class snobbery in this country that he had a complete breakdown, which is what led her to write this poem. My father was a British diplomat posted in many countries across the world. Wherever I travelled, people often asked me, why, when Britain has such talented scientists, artists, doctors, academics and businessmen, does it give so much importance to a royal family with no particular merit, when most modern nations are republics that honour their best? I had no reply when I was a young boy. After having done an MBA from the London Business School and worked as a banker and international management consultant, I saw how the entire class system of this country, which so badly discriminates the poor English working class, is based around the fraudulent monarchy that we actually imported from Germany. Anniversary of an accidental death in Paris and the new man conning wealth. When will the viral parasites from the Saxe-Coburg and Gotha clan, of the same lineage as Dracula and the Transylvanian bat, stop feeding on the blood of the poor English man for whom no one speaks, who has no food bank? Our genes still carry the beautiful eyes and the simple, self-effacing soul of the noble Cheddar man. He sleeps hungry, huddled in an old, torn holdall, dying on our streets. You too had such beautiful eyes. By strange coincidence, being driven through Sevenoaks, I passed your old school on the 31st of August, 20 years ago, at the exact time and day you were killed. They called it an accident. Later that evening, we had a very bitter argument. I left her by that church. You had to die instead. You had been warned that an accident was planned. Pregnant, Cancerian mother, bleeding badly, you fought hard to preserve the child of your lover, bravely pulling out every drip in the ICU you thought poisoned and would kill you both. Early next morning, I heard news of your death. That evening, as the plane carrying your body entered this island's airspace, the good and noble priest praying at the abbey looked up into the sky, straight into my eyes. The plane seemed to mirror your feeling, its face smiling mischievously in the childish guilt of a taunted, ill-treated, but beautiful and gentle girl. That you managed to get them in the end, even if you had to die for it. They had none of your charm or love for people. Boring, thoroughly mundane Gothas, surviving by PR, media, manipulation, bribes of knighthoods, garters, invitations. Gothas, the marketeers, rising from their graves at midnight, turned Windsors, singing, "We're in the money," like a supermarket man.
Duchess of this, Duke of that, does the monkey dishing out fake titles own England? Crafty like a monkey, scratchy like a cat, crazy like her cousin, the vampire bat, distributing the virus of her titles at the drop of a hat.
Unlike noble Buddha and Ashoka, who walked away from war and even their kingdoms, these Gothas were fat executioners, selfish to the core, made great only by tribal poets shaking spear, Who would write a poem today about Blair? Now it's trolley dollies who marry their dimwits to become duchesses, breeding rabbits, not scientists of the university town sadly weighed down by the burden of their fraud titles on the city's distinguished name.
Duchess of this, Duke of that, does the monkey dishing out fake titles own England? Crafty like a monkey, scratchy like a cat, crazy like a cousin, the vampire bat, distributing the virus of her titles at the drop of a hat.
The Tampax lover, whose obsession for a horse face merged into his boring old mother, who lived for and loved only horses, not her small island, still pretending status. A hoax empire desperate to keep conning wealth, inside her son's aging prostate. The fools think the rest are common, as they are wealthy, fake and royal. It's more Jeremy Kyle than King. The sad, irrational British press salivate at the wedding and proclaim, "Ha ha ha, isn't the world looking at our little island with such envy?" They say, "You got it wrong, we look at you in pity, mate." Prime ministers of large countries with billions were made to queue up, stand behind her illiterate family like butlers, by her cronies and her so-called courtiers, and the honourable companions of corgis. She pleaded for him to be head when he should be its arse, so he can be crowned King of Commonwealth, to fool the poor English white working class that he's still emperor of a wider world than just for them, for whom no one cares. More whimperer, loo carrier. Commonwealth doesn't belong to these monkeys, demanding curtsies from republics, whose citizens say, "Go back to your little island to whet your giant ego's appetites." But this emperor, who never had clothes other than his nappies, does matter to the rich fat cats and social climbers. If Mummy's spoiled brat had any decency, he should resign. Stop fooling his country's poor. Now I have this painting of you after your death, an abstract, as a sad apparition in front of Elton John, playing Candle in the Wind. Apollo's brave sister, Artemis, rest in peace. When will the viral parasites from the Saxe-Coburg and Gotha clan, of the same lineage as Dracula and the Transylvanian bats, stop feeding on the blood of the poor Englishman, for whom no one speaks, who has no food bank? Our genes still carry the beautiful eyes and the simple, self-effacing soul of the noble Cheddar Man. He sleeps hungry, huddled in an old torn holdall, dying on our streets. It's time for a republic. Equally fraudulent as the monarchy is the Commonwealth, created solely to maintain the impression of a fictitious empire for the benefit of the royals, who pretend to their subjects they are still monarchs of many other countries, when in fact the countries of which they are still heads of state are tiny islands, excepting Canada, New Zealand and Australia, who are eager to get rid of them. India, who had so many royal families and is now a republic, laughs at the ridiculous posturing of royals who expect to be curtsied to. What cheek! I strongly urge all those who have the interest of the poor and the British working class at heart to work towards a republic of Great Britain, which is the only way people will be equal in this wonderful, green and pleasant, beautiful country of ours.